Hey everyone, it's Corey with Reel Filmmaking, and today we're going to be talking about a really cool budget piece of gear, and that is the Shimbol M5 touchscreen monitor. I'm also going to be talking about the Shimbol TP Mini, but just kind of a little bit later. This is a budget video monitor that is pretty awesome. Like, I'm using it right now with the wireless transmitter to make this video, and I've been testing this out for a little while now, and I have to say I'm really impressed by this product. Now, when you first get into filmmaking, we get really captivated by the cameras and the lenses, but there's a lot of these other accessories that really help to make your life as a filmmaker easier, and having an external monitor is definitely one of those. So when Shimbol reached out to me about this monitor, I was very interested because in the last couple of years there's been a handful of really good budget monitors that have come out. And suffice it to say, they did not disappoint. I really love the M5. Now, if you check out Shimbol, you'll see that they have a lot of different monitors. Some are video recorders where you can record what your camera is seeing. Other ones have wireless transmission built into them. This is their most budget-friendly, affordable option. This monitor comes in at $169 at the time of me recording this. And I think for that price point, you're getting so much bang for your buck with this monitor. So let's talk about some of the things that you get with this. So the first thing is the build and the look of this monitor. It is very sleek. I love its appearance, but more than that, I love that it is a solid piece of aluminum casing that houses this. And I've had lots of budget monitors in the past that, are pretty good, but they're encased in plastic or really cheap materials. And so when I've dropped them, parts of them break off. Worst case scenarios, things just don't work all together. And the M5 is built very different. Because it's got that full aluminum case, it feels like it could take a beating if I dropped it someplace, or if it got scratched against something, it wouldn't be the end of this monitor. So overall, I think the build quality on this monitor is very nice. It's got a set of buttons at the top. One is for power, the other three are function buttons, and they feel very good to press, very tactile. Some of these monitors, it can be very cheap feeling, or the buttons are like really sticky, or they're hard to press. These feel very good. Along with that, the other in-out ports of the monitor, you've got an HDMI in, you've got an HDMI out, so if you want to run your HDMI to something else. You've got a DC in, so if you want to power this from a V-mount or a power bank or some other thing, if you have DC, you can do that. On the back of the monitor, you have a standard battery plate for Sony MPF batteries, so you can use the various sizes on them. This monitor has a low power consumption, so that means off the Sony MPF batteries, you can run it for a long time. I think Shimbol rates that if you're using the biggest Sony MPF battery, that you can get up to 6 hours of battery on this monitor, which is very impressive. So that means you won't have to be like hot swapping batteries during long shoots. Along with the MPF battery plate, you have an SD card slot that you can load your own custom LUTs onto, and you can use those to monitor in real time what you're shooting. Along with the SD card slot, you have a dedicated headphone jack to monitor audio. And finally, there are two 1/4-20 threads on the bottom of the monitor and one on the right side of the monitor. So as you can see here how I've got this rigged up, I've got it into this 1/4-20 right here and attached to this wireless transmitter back here. But all in all, I think the design is really sleek. It's really well thought out. The 1/4-20s are where I want them. The HDMI port makes sense. And I don't really have any major design complaints with the overall layout and the build of the M5. So talking about features, the M5 has your standard, external monitor features that you've come to expect. You've got your waveforms, you got your scopes, histograms, you've got all of your markers for getting the different aspect ratios. You have focus peaking in different colors, different levels of it. You have different exposure tools like zebras, false color. You can load 3D LUTs on here, like I mentioned, off your SD card, and you can even tweak the overall color, look, and temperature of this external monitor, which is really great. One thing that I will say that I love about this monitor is it has a backlight to it. So if you're in very bright scenarios, like shooting out in the direct sun, you can turn on the backlight, and that really helps you to see the contrast of your scene. So I've mentioned it a couple times in this video, but I wanted to take a minute to talk about the wireless transmitter set that I'm using, which is also from Shimbol, called the TP Mini. And this pairs very well with the M5. And so essentially Shimbol has a wireless transmitter and receiver that you can send HDMI from your camera into the transmitter, hook the receiver up to your monitor, wherever you want to send the signal, and you can have a very low latency signal right from your camera. And this is great, you know, if you're doing something where you're shooting something from a client and you want to be able to give them a monitor that they can see. If you're using a camera like I am that doesn't have an external monitor, so I can't see myself when I'm recording, this is great. And honestly, I've really come to love this wireless transmitter set. You know, they use the Sony NPF batteries, and they can just run forever, it seems like. But I've been using these on a number of my cameras. I really love them. They're a really well-built product. They just have a simple function of transmitting, and they transmit really well. I think Shimbol says that they can transmit up to 300 feet, but you know, I'd never be in a scenario where I'd need that. But I just love being able to have wireless transmitting at such a budget cost. These are only $89. And so if you are at all interested in getting into wireless transmission, I would totally recommend using this system. It is amazing for the price point. You can't beat it. And so like I mentioned, using this in combination with the M5, you know, I've just got it attached right here with this little like smart arm, and it just makes a really compact little light monitoring setup that I can see. And so especially like if I'm shooting something on a smaller budget project, you know, I can use the camera's monitor, I can use another external monitor, and I can send with this transmitter to something like this. I could give a director, I could give like an art director or something if they need to see what's going on, give it to the client so they can see exactly what I'm capturing. And again, this is just one of those tools that really just helps to up your production level as a filmmaker, as a videographer, and it is just, at this price point, it's just so simple and it's such a no-brainer. I'd highly recommend it. So that is the Shimbol M5 and the TP Mini. Honestly, I think these are some of the best budget pieces of filmmaking gear that I've seen in a long time. So Shimbol, thank you for reaching out and sending these to me. If you're interested, I'll have links in the description where you can find these products. But really, you know, I'm not on here trying to sell stuff. I always want to take items and review items honestly and stuff that I believe in. So if I recommend it to you, it's because I really believe in these products. So I hope you found this video helpful and interesting. If you did, make sure to subscribe to Reel Filmmaking for more stuff about camera gear, filmmaking, magic lantern, all that goodness. And until next time, keep making movies and watching movies, and I'll see you on Reel Filmmaking. I just cannot get over this wireless transmitter. It's so fun, you know? It's like, man, you got a little inception going on here.